In over 20 years of working with type 2 diabetics and tens of thousands of tests that I've identified, the one hidden reason why type 2 diabetes continues to progress, why individuals like yourself who are likely trying to do all the right things, eating well, exercising, losing weight, even taking your pharmaceutical drugs, why you're still a diabetic and why your diabetes continues to progress over time. And so today we're going to be identifying that one hidden reason, that's the mechanism that is driving this for you. Because I know that many of you have researched many things and you've done a lot of things to try to help lower your sugars by taking all the supplements, right? You've watched the video online that says, this one supplement will help you lower your sugars, or this one diet, if you follow it, will help you reverse your diabetes. And I guess the reason why you're watching this video is because they've all failed. Because here's the thing, there is no specific one solution. There is no one size fits all approach. There's no purple pill to reversing diabetes, right? Well, like I said earlier, we've evaluated tens of thousands of tests over the years, and we've identified multiple problems that are going on. Most of our patients that we work with will have anywhere between 10 and 17 problems. But what I'm referring to today is the hidden reason behind this, because many of you have had blood tests ran, you've had hormone tests ran, you've had stool tests run. Some of you have even worked with other functional medicine or holistic healthcare practitioners and maybe got some great results, but you eventually plateaued. Because this hidden reason here today that we're going to talk about here is one of the major things that we identify in our practice, and we've been helping people for over 15 years with this specific problem. And in the early days when I first started working with type 2 diabetes, mainly because my mom had diabetes and I wanted to do everything in my power to help her, is I was helping a lot of individuals. But there was a certain percentage of our patients, roughly about 20 to 30% of them, that really plateaued. And it was really mind-boggling to me because we had so many individuals getting better, and it was just really frustrating. Well, when I found out what this specific problem was, what this specific issue was, it was a game changer. And we went from essentially 20 to 30% of our patients that we weren't able to help or get over that finish line, if you will, that we increased that to between 10 and 15%. So this is a massive overlying issue that was happening that we finally identified, and I want to share that with you today. So what is this number one underlying hidden reason? Well, this underlying problem that we typically see for most people are toxins. Now, this is a very unfamiliar word for many people because they're not sure what toxins really mean. The number one thing we look at, when we look at toxins, there's three that we identify. The first one we see here is going to be mold. Mold is a very common toxin, and people typically think, oh, well, if I don't see mold, it must not be an issue in my facility or must not be an issue for me. The reality is this, there's many times we've noticed that you could have been exposed to mold, let's say in your first apartment, because they had a water damaged building beforehand and they painted over it and you couldn't see it, and you lived there for maybe a year or so breathing in this toxic mold, and even though it didn't impact you at that time, years later it can cause enough damage in your body that you start seeing problems like type 2 diabetes, a very common correlation to type 2 diabetes. The second one we can see here are heavy metals. Now, heavy metals, we know the most common ones that people address, things like mercury, lead, aluminum. These are very common metals that people are aware of, but there are tons of other ones as well that you're probably not as familiar with. And again, metals can be exposed to individuals through food, can be exposed through air, through the soil that we're breathing. It's a very common thing that we see as well, and they're very damaging. So not only will they damage cells that are going to impact the driving of your diabetes, but they can impact your brain, your vision, your heart. I mean, these are nasty, nasty problems that we typically see. The third toxin we evaluate for are environmental. So environmental toxins are going to be things like your plastics, right? Like things like your pesticides and herbicides that people get exposed to, or even like car emissions. A lot of things with the air we breathe, the things that are in our water and our food supply, these are the common things that we get exposed to from the environmental toxins. Trust me when I say this. These three things right here were the game changer in our practice of taking people from roughly about 60 to 70% reversal to 85 to 95% reversal when we added these types of protocols in. But here's the deal. Number one, if you're not being evaluated for these, you're not going to understand the true mechanisms of how they're driving your diabetic condition. Number two, if you're not being evaluated for these things, then how do you know how to get rid of them or what you're truly dealing with? And number three, it's a very common and easy process. It takes time. There's a lot of things that have to happen to make sure we do this appropriately for you. But if you understand what needs to be done, this is like the foundational work to help you reverse your diabetes. And I can't tell you how beneficial it's been for the individuals that we work with. But here's the thing. This is just one component, one aspect of the things that we evaluate for when we're evaluating for our diabetics. And if you want to learn more about how we specifically, comprehensively evaluate, how we come up with proper solutions and the steps that we have to do, make sure you watch this video here because I go into much more depth about the whole process of how we take somebody from not knowing anything that's going on to really understanding the full problem they're dealing with and then creating a customized solution for you. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. We'll see you next time.